The royal chrysalis pulsed with a sickly, fading light. Inside, the young queen felt the vast network of her hive mind shrinking, each silent scream of her subjects, a pinprick of loss in her consciousness. She was 20, barely an adult by the long-lived standards of her species, and she was dying. The Viridian scourge, a parasitic fungus, clung to the organic walls of the hive ship, slowly choking the life from it and its inhabitants. Her warriors lay paralyzed, her workers lethargic. Her own body, encased in the nurturing shell, was being drained of vitality. Despair, a cold and foreign emotion, seeped into her thoughts. This was how her dynasty would end, not in battle, but in silent decay. A tremor, different from the hive's death throes, ran through the structure. A new presence, small and shockingly singular, pierced the fog of the dying collective. It was a mind like a closed stone, thoughts self-contained and private. Then came the sounds sharp, precise concussions of foreign technology, the sizzle of focused heat, and the mechanical clatter of something moving with brutal efficiency through the overgrown corridors. He was not what she expected. When the chrysalis membrane tore open not by tooth or claw, but by the careful slice of a monomolecular blade, she saw a figure encased in hardened plates of gray and olive. His face, behind a clear visor, was young, human, etched with concentration, not triumph. He did not recoil at her ethereal, iridescent form, her large, luminous eyes, or the delicate, chitinous limbs folded against her body. His eyes, a calm hazel, scanned her with professional assessment. Life signs weak but stable. Queen organism located. Proceeding with extraction. His voice, filtered through the external speaker, was flat, devoid of the reverence or fear her title usually inspired. He worked quickly, injecting a broad-spectrum antitoxin into her primary circulatory node, then carefully severing the fungal tendrils that anchored her to the chrysalis. His touch was clinical, but not rough. When he lifted her, her body fragile and light, he did so with a steady, secure grip, cradling her against the cold hardness of his armor as if she were made of glass. He carried her through the nightmare landscape of her own ship. They passed her guardians, now stirring weakly as the humans deployed nanodrones scoured the air and walls with precise antifungals. He moved with a predator's grace, avoiding the worst of the decay, his weapon a blocky rifle, always tracking ahead, but he never fired. He simply walked, a solitary bastion of silent purpose in the tomb of her world. On his ship, a utilitarian gunmetal gray scout vessel, he placed her in a clean medical pod. Lights hummed, scanners washed over her, and soothing fluids bathed her system. The paralyzing cold retreated. For the first time in weeks, she felt warmth that was not fever. She could feel the edges of her hive mind again, faint but strengthening. The silent cries turning into whispers of confusion and hope. When she was strong enough to sit up, he was there, having removed his helmet. His hair was dark and cut short, his features unassuming. He offered a nutrient-rich paste on a simple spoon. "You must eat. Your metabolism is still recovering." She took the offering, the taste bland but energizing. She looked at him, and the floodgates opened. "You came." Her voice was a soft chime, translated by a pendant on her neck. "You heard our distress beacon when others did not. You entered the silent grave. You fought the creeping death not with fire, but with cure. You saved my life. You saved my people. I thank you. I thank you with all the depth of my being. This debt is eternal. I thank you." He gave a small, almost awkward nod. "Protocol." The beacon was alliance-coded. I was closest. His simplicity baffled her. A queen's gratitude was a currency of empires. But you risked contamination. You fought through the spore clouds. You could have died. Environmental seals are standard. The risk was calculated. He turned to check a console. Your warriors are mobile. The fungus is in retreat, she continued, the words pouring out. You have preserved a lineage that stretches back 10,000 cycles. You have saved the cultural memory of my species aboard that ship. I thank you for my mother's songs. I thank you for my sister's future. I thank you for the light in the hive nurseries, which will glow again because of you. He seemed to physically withdraw from the sheer volume of her gratitude, his shoulders tightening slightly. I was just doing my job, but to her, he was not just a soldier. He was a singular savior. As her strength returned, she shadowed him. He worked on the ship's systems, and she hovered near the doorway. Your efficiency is remarkable. The way you reroute power is elegant. I thank you for maintaining this vessel which shelters us. He muttered a thanks without looking up. He ate a compact meal bar, and she sat across from him. You sustain yourself simply to continue your duties. Your discipline honors you. I thank you for the strength you share with this mission. He paused mid-chew. It's just a protein bar. When they approached a way station, he negotiated docking fees. She listened, then said, Your diplomatic tone secures our safe passage. I thank you for your words, which protect us. He ended the comms channel and sighed, a quiet, weary sound. It's just talking. Her gratitude was as constant and pervasive as the Viridian scourge had been, but it was a warmth he did not seem to know how to withstand. One evening, as he repaired a faulty relay, she entered the small common area. She had used salvaged materials from her ship, a fragment of luminous crystal, a strand of preserved silk from her chrysalis, a polished piece of clean chitin, and fashioned a crude, beautiful medallion. My people express profound thanks through tokens, she said, her voice solemn. This holds a piece of my old life, given in acknowledgement of the new life you gave. I thank you for the moment we met. I thank you for every breath since. He stared at the offered gift, his hands still greasy from the relay. For a long moment, he was silent. Then he did not reach for it. Instead, he wiped his hands slowly on a cloth. Why? He asked, the words stark and heavy in the small space. She blinked, the medallion trembling slightly in her hand. Why do I thank you? Why do you thank me so much? He finally looked at her, and for the first time, she saw past the professional calm to a deep, quiet exhaustion. I followed a signal. I applied standard decontamination protocols. I performed a field extraction. Any Alliance personnel would have done the same. You keep thanking me like I chose to be a hero. I didn't. I was just the one who happened to be there. Her luminous eyes widened. But you were there. That is the point. You ask, why, as if your actions were meaningless. They are everything. You did not have to be careful. You could have been rough. You did not have to speak. You could have been silent. You did not have to check the medical pod's readings 3 times a shift. But you did. Your presence was not an accident. Your conduct was a choice. I thank you for the choices, not the coincidence. He looked away, out at the streaking stars of the warp tunnel. His voice was softer. On my world, where I'm from, we don't get thanked. Not like this. We do a job. If we do it well, we hear nothing. If we fail, we hear everything. This, he gestured vaguely at her, at the medallion. This is loud. She finally understood. In his world, kindness was assumed, duty was silent, and excellence was its own reward. Gratitude, especially so profound and vocal, was a dissonance. Slowly, she placed the medallion on the console beside him. Then I am sorry for the noise, but I cannot be silent. My heart is loud with thanks. If it is a burden, I will try to shape it quieter, but I will not stop. To stop would be to dishonor what you did. He did not pick up the medallion, but he did not push it away. He gave that same small nod. Okay, the journey continued. Her thanks did not cease, but they changed form. She learned his language of quiet service. She began to anticipate his needs, having a tool ready before he asked, quietly restocking the medkit he used, preparing 2 meal bars instead of 1. Her verbal thanks became less frequent, more specific. The reactor alignment is stable. Your repairs were effective. Thank you. It was factual, tied to an action he could understand. He began to accept her presence, her new form of gratitude. Once, he even returned a quiet gesture of his own. She had been quietly struggling to interface her personal datapad with the ship's network, trying to reassemble fragments of her hive's historical records. Without a word, he slid a data slug across the table to her. Universal Translator Driver. Should help. She took it, a warmth blooming in her chest that had nothing to do with medicine. Thank you. This time, he simply nodded again, but the tightness around his eyes had softened. When they reached the safe, designated world where a surviving faction of her species waited, a delegation of her kin shimmered on the landing field, their forms elegant and anxious. As the hatch opened, she turned to him. He stood in his full armor once more, the unremarkable human who had walked into hell and walked back out with a future in his hands. I must go, she said, the chime in her voice resonant with emotion. I know. Your people need you. She took a step forward, then stopped. The torrent of words was there, but she held them. She had learned his language. Instead, she placed a hand over the place where her primary heart beat, then extended it, palm open, toward him, a gesture of her people, meaning my essence acknowledges yours. He hesitated. Then, stiffly, he brought his own armored fist to the center of his chest plate and gave a single, slow nod. A human gesture of